On today's show, we get a guide on creating holiday memories with you and your kids while maintaining a calm, respectful, and safe atmosphere. Lucia Bellafante is here for that discussion. With all of the holiday talk on the show, ladies and gentlemen, one might think we've already gone on vacation.
This is Kelly and Company.
Thanks for being with us. Always appreciate you having time for us, no matter how you consume the show, whether it's out on YouTube, maybe you listen to us on AMI Audio. We air 4 times a day over on AMI Audio starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you can check out our podcast from the podcast platform of your choice. Maybe even while you're in there, give us a rating and review. Nizreen Abdul-Majid joining me on the show. Niz, happy Tuesday. How are you?
Happy Tuesday. I'm good, all warmed up inside.
Oh, now, okay. So that means coffee already ingested, right? You've got the coffee taken care of. Is that the warming technique of the day, especially since it's been so blustery here? Not so much cold, blustery.
It has to be the first thing I put inside my body. So coffee all the way. And this is just my first cup. So there's going to be more cups to go. Don't worry.
Okay. I thought you were working on actually helping me out with segues because we seem to have this passion for segues on this program. And I have to say, Nutritionist Julia Karantjas is back with energy boosting tips for us today so we can at least try to get out of hibernation mode over the next few months during the cold season. Julia, welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
All set to kind of give us those other reasons other than the coffee to kind of get out of that another one of these days. Now, Julie, I think we get set up in November, and Nazreen, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Generally, November's so dark, dreary, the time changes,
Mhm.
and you're already getting off to a head start, kind of being drowsy, sleepy, and lack of energy. Then you get the pseudo energy from, hey, Christmas is coming, yay! And then
hmm
January hits.
Yes,
I
and
think when it just
February,
gets
which is,
dark so quickly, yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
feel
yeah, it
so
gets dark quick.
exhausted.
And the cold.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be out late in the evening, having walks, getting fresh air, getting their circulation going when it's, minus 10 or
Yeah.
even minus 1. It's too cold. It's not comfortable. And so we aren't exercising as much. We're, sitting down, staying cozy, which sounds lovely, but it's not great for our energy levels because of the circulation. And then, yes, exactly, it gets dark much sooner. So there's that circadian rhythm aspect, um, which is not helping us. And so in the winter, we tend to almost be a little more hibernating, which is not a real word, but you get into this hibernation mode. It's as soon as the sun
Well,
goes down at 5:30, it's freezing
yeah,
and you don't really want to be out if you don't have to be.
I think one of the things that actually kind of blew my mind, which is such a wonderful thing because I prefer to do things earlier in the day when it comes to exercise because I don't trust myself not doing it later, which is wonderful for getting the energy up, but so hard to get yourself going in the dark, 7 a.m. in the morning, that kind of thing. I heard on the news yesterday, they were talking with all the snow and people shoveling about a couple that gets out and has for 50 some odd years and done their early morning walk, winter, summer, whenever. They do their nice, and they particularly like those winter walks, which for so many people are so hard to do. As the winter progresses, other reasons that make us feel even more tired, Julia.
Lack of activity is sort of the biggest one. The other one is we don't have the sun. We
Right.
aren't
Yep.
getting a lot of vitamin D, which is great for mood, right? If your mood goes down, you also sometimes feel tired and it makes things worse. So vitamin D is really important in the winter. We talked about it last time in relation to our immune system, but it's also really great for mood, which is important, kind of goes hand in hand with energy. If you're in a happy, good mood, you might be more motivated to get out and do some exercise or to, get up and do some exercise, not necessarily outside. And so in the winter, it's cold. We have our skin covered. We absorb vitamin D from the sunlight through our skin, but in the winter, we're covered because it's cold. So we're not getting that kind of vitamin D intake. Also, you're not outside for as long. So
Mhm.
taking vitamin D is really helpful. And I mean, it's going to also help with cold and flu season. So it's a double win there.
Now
Vitamin C, again, really helpful because of the antioxidants.
the D,
Y-
before we carry
Yes.
on, I find interesting because we know there's been so much more spoke of vitamin D in the last 20 years as more of us have had the sense to get on the bus. Nazreen, I'm not sure. Younger people, I think, are far more in tune with this if they're doing their vitamins that they already well since know, hey, I got to do this vitamin D thing, a fair bit of it due to where we are and the wintertime issues in this part of in this hemisphere. Would you agree with that? That your friends, everybody, hey man, out of my vitamins, D is right in there and at the top.
Absolutely. I feel like, especially the younger generation, just have more knowledge about these sort of things. Now, my problem is being consistent. I am never
Hmm.
consistent with these,
Me too.
and I'm supposed to take vitamin D every day. I think that's just essential, but I'm never consistent. Always forget here and there, and that's the issue.
And we have to with that one, right,
Yes.
Julia? It's not like
Yeah.
vitamin C where you can, hey, there's an orange, there's a whatever, so I don't have to be so
Right.
heavy on my vitamin C today.
Right. Yes, vitamin D deficiency is way more common. We're not eating as much of it. It's a fat soluble vitamin, not a water soluble vitamin like the vitamin C is. And we primarily get it from the sun. And so, again, that's, the problem with the winter. So, vitamin D is pretty essential. And the nice thing now is, people are so much more aware of it, and doctors are more commonly doing blood work to check vitamin D levels and are very willing to prescribe a vitamin D supplement, which is great. So we're getting it from the Western medicine world, and we're also getting it from the natural side, which is really good. But consistency could be hard. Perhaps leaving it on your counter where the rest of your breakfast items might be, and also just figuring out which method might be the easiest. If you are a cereal eater, getting a vitamin D drop and adding it to the milk might be something that you
Oh,
could get on board with, as opposed to having to remember to swallow a pill. Some people like the pills because they're more transportable. You can take them to work, and therefore, as soon as you remember, you can take it. You don't have to be home for it. They also have gummies, and that might be something that works for you because you like taking the gummies, so you might remember to do it. So there's so many ways to take vitamin D, and so if you're
You're
having
tricking
trouble
your brain.
remembering to do it, maybe you just could try a different method of ingesting it, and one of them might stick more than another.
yeah. Yeah. It's got to be hard for some people because if they're taking other medications, you could just feel like all you're doing is putting a whole bunch of things into you.
Yeah.
And you need to find
Mhm.
that separation. Do your meds maybe if you're doing meds 2 or 3 times a day and find that spot that works for you to take your vitamins, Nisreen.
Yeah, I feel like when I take I take a lot of medication. So adding vitamin D is a struggle. In my brain, I'm like, ah, this is just another pill.
Yeah.
Do I really need it? And that's why I'm not being consistent. Even though it would be so much easier if I could just combine it with my other medication,
Same
I
here.
just have to
Yep.
trick my brain. I have a question about the gummy situation. So for the gummies, do you feel like they are the same results, or do you feel like it's not as um
Potent.
Not as
yeah,
potent. Yes. Okay, great question. Some of them are definitely not as potent. You'd have to really pay attention to the dose to make sure that you were getting, that 1,000 or more. There are some really great brands that do make gummies. And so I wouldn't lump gummies in to one general category. I really do think it depends on the brand that you're taking. I'm not going to throw any brand under the bus, but it would, yeah, it would depend on that. I wouldn't villainize them all.
mm,
I take a fruit punch flavored spray, and
Oh,
I like it because I think it's tasty. So I like doing it at the end of my meal. So I that's how I remember to take it.
yeah,
And kids might like it too because it has a nice non-offensive flavor. It's pretty fun.
yeah.
So that's how I remember to do it. But
Because
yeah,
that's
I
another
mean
thing, the
it really
ridiculous
depends.
aftertaste that some people feel they get or the
Yeah,
yes,
repeating.
yeah. Oh yeah, the
and you
repeating's
dread it.
terrible.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's gross. Yeah,
Um,
but with the spray, I don't feel like I'm swallowing a pill because I mean I'm not. I'm just swallowing a very small amount of this pretty yummy liquid, so it doesn't feel as arduous and heavy in my stomach.
yeah. It's interesting what you say about D and how much of a problem it is here in this part of the world, not and how many of us our bodies are screaming for it, and how much we should take. And do you have to be careful with the other vitamins you mix D with, or it doesn't really
No,
matter? No,
you don't.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
If you're
are
taking
some
care
that
of
are not buddies, but not
right.
with D.
Yeah. We'll get into that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
If you're taking care of your stomach, especially those of us who love coffee. Anyway, uh, if you're doing the right things, taking enough of the probiotics or your yogurts and things like that, does coffee help? I recently have heard the negatives, the positives, but generally a negative is followed up then by months of positives. I got in a frame of mind, I think I've mentioned this on the program before, where I thought, geez, I got to cut down on this 3 to 5 cups of coffee a day. I got to. It's not, can't be good for me. If you're taking care of your stomach, if you find you don't have issues, is the coffee that benefit, at least in the wintertime, for helping us with energy? Or is it pseudo?
Well, it's so another way to stay energized is to stay properly hydrated. So in the summer, it's warm. We're more apt to drinking a lot of liquid to stay cool. We get thirsty. In the wintertime, we're not drinking as much, but water is really the powerhouse of the body. A lot of
For sure.
functions don't
Yes.
function. I mean, pretty much the number one important thing. And so if you start to get a bit dehydrated, your energy goes down. So with coffee, it's a diuretic. It's making you urinate out water and it doesn't have a hydrating effect. So it's not so much all the caffeine that you're consuming, it's the diuretic effect of the caffeine. But
The
if
water
you're
loss.
staying hydrated,
Mhm.
so you're drinking an extra cup of water for every coffee that you have, or you're only having a couple of coffees a day, and you're really drinking and eating like you're eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, which we know have a water content to it, and then you're drinking non-caffeinated, non-sugar containing liquids. I mean, you would offset the dehydrating effects of the caffeine, but it's really that relationship between hydration and energy where the caffeine is not so much your friend. It's giving you false energy, which is great in the moment, but over long term, it's not so great. You'll have that bit of a crash. But if you can stay hydrated, that's, that's how you're going to cancel that out. So it's really the hydration,
I
exercise,
find
hydration. Those are the
right,
things that
yep.
are helpful.
I find the water easier to do than the veggies and fruits. Remind us, how many how many quotients of fruit should we be having, or for
Six,
vegetables, the mix, either one?
six is your minimum. So 6 to 12 servings
Oh
of
boy.
Servings.
fruits and veggies. That's combined.
I wanted to hear
Oh
Nazreen's,
boy.
"Oh, boy."
Yeah.
I'm such a bad influence in this
Yeah.
conversation.
I when Julia has brought this up, I have no idea how you do it. Like I like fruit, I'd prefer fruit, but you don't wanna have too much of the sugary fruits in that either. Like, I can't sit there and eat, 12 servings of fruit a day. So you say, "Okay, how
No.
much vegetable?" Okay, maybe a little bit of salad or something at lunch, or something at dinner, but it's that, "Okay, that's enough." No, no, it's not. You have 2 servings, Kelly, let's get at it. And again, I
Yeah.
understand probably if I mix vegetables, Brussels sprouts, whatever it might be, I'm probably having more than quote 2 servings unquote at that sitting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you could have 4 servings at a sitting and probably not really feel like you overate. And if you're doing something raw, you have a side salad and then there's a cooked vegetable with your dinner and it's a fair portion, that's going to account for a lot. And then if you can squeeze in a couple of snacks that either have a fruit or carrot stick in it, it can be doable. I mean, the 6 is definitely doable. Maybe we'll talk about that next week is how do we get that in? What does that look like? How
Yes,
much food
Nisreen.
does that really, mean to chew?
Yeah.
oh my god.
But
I need a
yeah, I
lesson.
mean, that fresh stuff contains water. So you're getting all the vitamins and antioxidants, which are helping keep the body functioning, but you're also getting the water content. So it's contributing to the hydration. So it's a total benefit.
You mentioned next week. I think we have you on Mondays. We're moving it to Mondays, and I believe that starts next week. I'll let the bosses
Yeah.
decide when all that is. I think you guys have worked that out. So we'll be talking
Yes.
to you Monday, and I think that's a great lesson to. Oh, hold on. When am I not here? Oh, I am here Monday. Oh, yeah. I guess we've got to have that lesson. But I know
Perfect.
I don't do well with it. Those darn vegetables and fruit. Julia, take care of yourself.
Okay. Thanks, Nazarene. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank
Our
you.
nutritionist, Julia Karantjas, on the program starting this Monday on Mondays, right here on Kelly and Company. Sorry, Niz, but I needed to bring it up because I find it impossible. Like, literally, I'm not going to have 10, 8, whatever servings unless what I'm doing already is because I'm generally greedy, maybe 4 or 5 servings without realizing it.
Yeah. Or I'm just not, again, I'm not with anything now that I think about it. And whether it's, being so good on water. So I'll have a jug of water next to me for a week. I'll be so good. I'll be consistent. I'll drink so much water and great. But then the next
Right.
week, I get lazy about it, going back to coffee every couple of hours, a new cup, and I won't eat that much vegetables and stuff like that. The next week, I'll be like, okay, no, I'm gonna push myself. I'm just never consistent, I think, and I think that's the biggest issue. And I just I need to improve on me being like consistent and actually have what you call it, willpower.
Mhm, mhm.
So
And I
and
think one of the
yeah.
things what she said when you add the D, for example, having that way of just, "Okay, I'm here, I'm having this, I'll pour it in my cereal." It's the mechanical thing that you can do, but also that thing you're comfortable with. What you said about taking meds and then piling it is awful. Like, it's just one
Yeah.
thing after another. It's actually tiring.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just so much. There's so much to keep track. It's hard, but I like the people that are being consistent and they're really good at taking their care of their health. Like, come teach me. Come give me a lesson and push me. That's what
A
I need. I
blank
need someone
a
to
blank
push.
canvas ready to be worked
Yeah.
with. That's what Nizreen is when it comes to the topic. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Kelly and Co. AMI. Lucia Bellafante, are you pretty good with the vitamin racket?
Sometimes I can also be inconsistent. I get that. But something that has really been helpful, you mentioned water. I'm not good with a large jug of water. So I'll get
Hmm.
myself a small glass and I will put either cucumber or a fruit in there for flavor,
Yep.
lemon, lime, something, and try to have one glass every hour. So it's
I love
easy if
that.
you're working from home, right?
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
If
trying
you're
to do
out and
that with the
about,
lemon, right? I'm trying to do it with the lemon,
yes.
and I try to put a glass of water somewhere,
Yeah.
especially during the workday, where I walk by and just, oh, stop, take a couple of sips because
Hmm.
apparently I used to be Mr. Guzzle. I love the taste of water and I love pounding it
Mm,
back when I do it. But I'm told that's not as good as sip, sip, sip.
okay. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know that answer, but
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think
thanks
Lucia's
for
that's a
sitting there
great
saying that
saying,
out.
idea that you're switching up the taste
yeah, me
Yes,
too.
every hour or
'cause it
so,
gets
because
boring.
it gets so boring. It
Yeah.
gets so boring. I understand. I remember back in college, I used to carry a jug of water with lemon, and I would just
Mhm.
trick myself into drinking so
Yeah.
much, and
Yeah.
then I just get sick of lemon water, and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
changing it up, smart.
Various. Yeah,
Hmm.
Cucumber.
it's great. And the vitamin D, I love the idea of put the drops in your first.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can put it in coffee. That's something to check with next week maybe. But
Mm,
in your water, definitely you can
mm.
put your drops in there so you don't feel like you're taking an extra
Mm,
tablet,
It's
smart.
right?
hard to get kids to with the veggies and stuff like that. It's really a
Mhm.
tough one that I know I struggled a lot with and probably as an adult still do. And I had parents that got after me about it. So, I think about that, Lucia, as we bring you on today to have a very interesting
Mhm.
conversation as we think back to all the fond, heartwarming memories that you've made with your family out there, folks.
Yeah.
Think of any yet, folks? I think it just think about it. Lucia Bellafante is joining us with a guide on creating those holiday memories with your kids while maintaining a calm, respectful, and safe atmosphere for everyone. Um, you're calling these memories with purpose, Lucia. What do you mean by this?
Well, I kind of thought of that idea because I thought, you know, especially during the holidays, people like to do a lot of activities with their children. And the idea of with purpose was more so to say, we want to create memories where everyone is happy, not because we feel forced to create a memory. So, for example, if you're someone who really likes to bake, but your child doesn't enjoy it, then perhaps that's not something you want to force your child to do. Um, as well, I was thinking, when we're thinking of doing activities with our children, whether we're reading with them, whether we're going shopping, baking, or do like gift wrapping, for example, whatever we're doing, I think if we remember that we can ask our child how they want to do something, we can remember that we should be really taking our time with the activity, going slow, being respectful, not being rushed, because it's so easy during this time to be rushed and feel rushed. And so that's what I was thinking of when I said with purpose, remembering to be calm, respectful, taking our time, going slow. The intent is to have fun. So choose activities that your child thinks is fun, not necessarily that we, the adults, think are fun. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
So come January, when you know
Mm-hmm.
your child has to have certain things to learn to do, that are
Mm-hmm.
part of, so let's go back to your example of the baking.
Sure.
Because you enjoy it, you're quick to say, "Hey, give it a try," but by then
Right.
you're hoping that isn't the venue you're using to introduce your child to being in the kitchen, being helpful, baking, and that kind of thing. Yes, you wanna have that fun, but you probably should separate that, shouldn't you, from in February, "Hey, we're making a dessert," or, "I need your help in the kitchen to do this, and I know it's not your favorite thing, but you're gonna have to do this stuff as you grow older." Is that kind of the better
Mhm.
way to think of it that way? Separate these things. These are for the fun. These are for, hey, let's go in and get ourselves all covered in flour.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's not an activity that your child innately is enjoying, I mean, I wouldn't consider that as the fun activity.
No.
Right? Because they're not happy doing it. And in that case, I'd say, what is it that you would like to do that you can do together? Maybe they just want to have a game of cards with you. Maybe it's going for a walk if there's snow, building a snowman. Who knows? But definitely ask. And I
Right.
like the idea that, if it's a lesson, then it's a lesson. But even throughout that lesson, we should remember to take our times. Maybe we need to break things down. Maybe it's not the entire recipe that you're teaching your child or all the skills at once. We've had these discussions before where we talk
Mhm.
about breaking down skills and teaching one skill at a time. So, great example, Kelly.
So I look out the window, tons of snow out here,
Mhm.
lots of
Mhm.
ways to have fun. You and I know we were told, "Get out, go have some fun." We dig our ways into the snow banks that the plows would build up, and parents would tell us, "Get out of there. That's not safe. What if the plow comes back?"
Mhm.
So how can families have holiday fun in a calm and respectful manner that also facilitates safety?
Right. So the safety, that's an interesting concept. I didn't even think of that outdoor safety. I was thinking more the inside stuff. But I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. So if oh my goodness, I remember my brother actually when he was young, we were just talking about this, did that exact same thing. And
Oh,
it
yeah.
would drive my mother mad,
Yeah,
right?
my parents too. We loved it. I loved going in those.
Yeah.
They were like you could build a palace.
Yes, they were fantastic. I'd say, as much as we can, let's mimic that where it's safe. Obviously, it's a lot of fun. So, as an adult, we were talking about moving. Movement doesn't always have to be, I'm going to go for a walk. There's your perfect example of movement. Get outside, get that shovel with your kids, and bring the snow somewhere safe. Mimic that environment in a spot that is safe.
Yeah.
How's that? Does that make sense?
That and even I mean, we talk about snowball fights, which people are gonna do, but
Yes?
there's safe ways you can do that. Make sure kids know, don't hit somebody in the face with that. Don't do stuff like
Yeah.
that. Aim for a leg or a shoulder, proper snow, make sure you don't
Mhm.
build a snowball around a rock, or it's not got a
Yes.
rock in it.
Yep.
But on the inside too, there's a lot of running around
Right.
and carrying on. So when we think about it, how what is holiday safety in the long shot?
Well,
What are we really
right.
talking?
So inside, I always think in terms of, we like to decorate, we like to put extra things out in the holidays, or perhaps we're having company, so we need to move furniture around. And I think it's really important to remember the needs of the children during that
Right.
time. So perhaps you have a child who uses a mobility aid. You need to make certain that they can navigate that environment safely and comfortably using whatever mobility aid they're using. And also, you want to include the child when you have moved furniture and make certain that, if it's a child who is um, perhaps accustomed to things laid out a certain way because they're not seeing it when you've changed, you need to make certain you've had that conversation and then walk through with them to what has been changed. And also minimize what you're changing, I think is a really good idea.
Especially you put that Christmas tree up, you got something's gotta move. Something's gotta be changed in
Right.
the space, when it comes
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
So you don't have any other issues. Anything else around I mean, we talk a lot about inclusive. This is the last time of year that you don't wanna that you want anyone to feel not included, especially when family's over and the young kids are there.
Right. So inclusivity, I mean, you know, I always say begin with those conversations for yourself with your child and ask them, have you ever felt like, obviously, you're not going to ask a 1 year old the same way you're going to speak to your 16-year-old, but try to have conversations. Or as the adult, you can also, be observant of your child. If your child is sad or happy or angry, have those conversations and flat out say, did you feel as though you were not included? And ask, how would you like to be better included in an activity or in whatever it is that you might be doing? We talked about gift wrapping and, making gift wrapping something easy for the child to open. We want to remember that we don't want to have so much tape on a gift that it becomes frustrating. It could
Yeah.
be something as simple as that.
I loved wrapping things up. Nazreen, I don't know how you felt
Yes.
about it, but like wrapping things when I was a kid was so great. Put your finger here. I love the smell of the
Mhm.
paper, everything to do with it, the sound.
To this
Yep, the
day, I
smell,
feel
the
like it's
sounds, the
so
textures.
satisfying,
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What was that, Lucia?
Sorry, I said the smells, the sounds, the textures, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It really
It's a
was.
fun activity. Yeah,
And
I
then
so
of
just
it
hate
course,
when it's too thick. When the paper is
oh,
too
to
thick and it
open.
just becomes, yeah,
Yeah. Of
or even to wrap.
course.
I've
why is
Well,
that?
that's
Is
true
it
too.
because it's more, sorry, difficult to manage the paper?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then Lucia's favorite game, go under the tree and guess the presents, right? And just ruin all the
No.
fun for Christmas Day. You'd be told, this, like, get out of there, Lucia, get the heck out from under that tree. I would be grabbed by my leg and pulled out. That's enough of that. Oh,
Oh,
good. I got
that's
enough cassette
cute.
tapes. Awesome. Lucia, always wonderful. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Have a
Best of the
great
season.
holiday, everyone.
Thank you. You too. And folks, apply with a lot of what Lucia has said there. She'll be back in a month with more, of course, on the program as we get into more wellness focused conversation. Nazreen, thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Email us at kellyco@ami.ca and call us at 1-866-509-4545. Here's what's up on Parasport Nation this week, Tuesday. Paracyclist Alex Hayward was recently named New Brunswick's Athletes of the Year. He joins the show to talk more about his award. That's up ahead right here on Following Kelly and Company. And tomorrow, Christine Malik. We had people watching recently taking in the spectacular scenes outside the Taylor Swift concert in Toronto. She gives us a breakdown of the vibe. And Rebecca Dingwell shares some tips to tackle those holiday gatherings without getting into people burnout. We're out for today and waving at you.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly and Company. Follow us on all social media and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.